Yo, hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video, and today we're going to be finishing Pokemon Week by taking a look at the current generation, 5th generation of Pokemon, which has only 2 games in it thus far, Pokemon White version and Pokemon Black version. Now, in Pokemon Black and White version for 5th generation, we travel to the Unova region, which has its own set of bad guys, Pokemon League, and gym leaders. Some brand new Pokemons, moves, and abilities, and a new way to battle with 3-way battles, which aren't typically like your 2-way battles where the Pokemon can attack just any other Pokemon. You have to set up the battle accordingly so that the Pokemon on the right can only attack the center or the corresponding Pokemon in front of it. Same with the Pokemon on the left can only attack the corresponding Pokemon in front of it and the center Pokemon, while your center Pokemon can attack all. Let's talk a little bit about the Pokemon first. 5th generation has some pretty damn good looking Pokemon. The designs are very nice. They look really good. In addition to that, they really try to work towards some of the typings that don't get quite as much exposure as they did in the previous versions and generations. Grass and bug type Pokemon definitely get a boost here. And you don't see that many fire or water type Pokemon. So I do like the look of the Pokemon. Haxorus is probably my favorite along with Victini. But you have a great looking set of Pokemon who in competitive battle are pretty good. Nowhere as good as say maybe the previous versions, probably better than 2nd generation, but there's still good Pokemon, a ton of them that you're going to use in battle. There's some legendaries in here, and while there's a little too many for my own personal liking, I always think legendaries shouldn't go over the 5 rule limit. There's probably 5 legendaries, 3 set legendaries like the legendary birds, a big time legendary like say Mewtwo, and then a secret legendary like Mew. Like in 2nd gen you had the dogs, then you had Celebi, and in the 3rd gen they just kept adding more, and 4th gen they added tons. There's a lot of legendaries here, not quite as much as 4th gen though. But good looking Pokemon, good for competitive scene, although I have to say that the tier listing is still pretty unbalanced as it was in 4th gen, because it still has tons of the moves and tons of the Pokemon geared to those moves. Cough! Stealth Rock. Cough, cough! And in addition to that, some Pokemon get new hidden secret powers. Like for example, Ninetales can now have Drought. Ninetales is now an Uberless Pokemon. Anything that has Drought or Drizzle is just going to be absolutely broken. But now Pokemon have hidden moves, hidden abilities in there. So we have some good and we have some bad. But for the most part, I like the Pokemon. As for the story itself, I have to say, Pokemon Black and White version has the most compelling and interesting story out of all the Pokemon versions. Let's be honest though, Pokemon isn't known for its stories, so this story in comparison to any other video game story is probably going to be blah. But Team Plasma is actually a very interesting enemy. They look like complete goofballs. There's no denying that. But they have an interesting story to them. They believe that Pokemon are being forced into basically slavery. There are indentured servants. And that Pokemon should be free from its trainers. That Pokemon should live in their world and we should live in ours. Which is a topic that you have to think about. Pokemon is really that. We go out to the wild, we capture these Pokemon, take them out of their wild habitats, force them into little balls, then we force them into battles against other Pokemon. It's really kind of a very dark concept that's been tweaked up to look like a cute kitty thing. But Team Plasma deals with that. Now, whether or not that's their true intention, because they still use Pokemon and steal them, is still something that makes them an interesting villain that's not one-dimensional like, oh no, let's steal Pokemon like Team Rocket, or hey, let's cover the Earth with water, or cover it with a landmass and totally screw ourselves over like Team Magma or Plasma, or I don't even know what Team Galactica or Gukala or whatever they did. They would like try to rewrite time? I don't remember, and I don't care. They were pathetic. But Team Plasma has a pretty interesting concept to them. Even their battle music is pretty badass. I love their battle music. The only thing wrong with them is they look like complete goofballs. But they're cool. I like them. The gym leaders are pretty cool, although it's kind of the same, hey, look, we're just another fire gym, another ice gym, another dragon gym. But the gym leaders, for the most part, are cool, and the level designs are cool, too. The Pokemon League are badass. Some of the strongest of the Pokemon League for a while. And the champion, he's a tough mofo. There's no doubt about that. I'd hold my thoughts on 5th generation. 5th generation, starting off, was great. It had a great nostalgic factor because you go into this completely new land with this 150 new Pokemon, and you don't get to use any of the previous Pokemon until you beat the story mode. So, everything you do is new. The landscape looks beautiful, the cities look great, and there's a great level of depth and immersion in it. After you beat the game, after you beat the story mode, what I mean, is you fall under the same repetitive stuff that Pokemon does. In that, capture Pokemon, gotta train your team to level 100, gotta train these Pokemon so that they level up and evolve, and get our Pokedex complete. And it falls under the same formula that we've been dealing with. It's not necessarily bad on how it does this formula, it's just the same formula that we've been doing for a long time now. So, on the whole, Pokemon White and Black version are fun. They're definitely not the best of the Pokemon games, but they're far from being the worst. They're somewhere dead center. They have a great nostalgic factor. They present themselves very nicely, so it looks good. And the graphics update is welcome, even though it's just Pokemon barely moving, but it's still nice. However, it's the same Pokemon game, and very little was added to this generation. Probably less so than 4th Gen, and that's saying a lot because 4th Gen added barely anything at all. But I still prefer this over 4th Gen because it's more fun. It's more interesting, and it feels like more of a complete game and not rushed out of its ass like 4th Gen was. But again, this is all a matter of opinion. So, like I said, Pokemon Black and White version, good games. Not the best, not the worst. But I do recommend picking them up. Now, I will end off Pokemon Week tomorrow by giving you a full list of what I think are my favorite Pokemon games, which you probably already know, and my least favorite Pokemon games, and talk about Pokemon as a franchise on a whole. So with that said, I'm going to end this video here. This is Andrew saying, peace out for now.